Did you know that most seniors are losing 5 to 10 years of their lives without even realizing it? The truth is that your body, or your loved one's body, might be aging faster than it should be, and the warning signs are easy to miss until it's too late. What's even more shocking is that medical research has found that up to 60% of seniors' deaths could be delayed with the right interventions. But doctors rarely discuss these factors during brief checkups, leaving millions unaware their lifespan is quietly shrinking. In this video, we're going to reveal 7 hidden factors that are stealing years from seniors' lives and the surprisingly simple steps you can take to reclaim that time. Because this isn't just about adding years to your life, it's about ensuring those extra years are filled with energy, independence, and joy. Stay with us until the end because understanding these 7 factors might give you or someone you love an extra decade of quality living, time to see grandchildren grow up, to travel, or simply to enjoy the retirement you've worked so hard for. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what's accelerating aging in most seniors, how to spot the warning signs in yourself or loved ones, and the practical steps you can take starting today to reverse these effects. Most importantly, you'll learn that many aspects of aging that people assume are just part of getting older are actually preventable or even reversible with the right approach. Now let's get started with the factors that might be stealing years from your life, and how to get them back. Factor 1. Silent inflammation. One of the earliest and most damaging factors that cuts seniors' lives short is something happening inside your body right now that you can't feel or see: silent inflammation. Unlike the obvious inflammation that causes pain and swelling when you injure yourself, silent inflammation works below the surface, gradually damaging your organs, blood vessels, and brain. Think of it like rust slowly corroding a car from the inside out. At first, everything seems fine on the surface, but underneath, critical systems are breaking down. Take the stories of 2 women, Margaret and Betty, both 72 years old. Looking at them, you wouldn't notice much difference. Both are active grandmothers who live independently. But inside their bodies, things are very different. Margaret maintains an anti-inflammatory lifestyle. She avoids processed foods, gets regular gentle exercise, and prioritizes sleep. Her blood tests show low levels of inflammatory markers, and her doctors are always impressed by her biological age. She functions more like someone in her early 60s. Betty, however, doesn't realize that her diet of convenient packaged foods, her sedentary evenings watching TV, and her chronic stress are all fueling silent inflammation. She takes pride in rarely visiting the doctor, not realizing that inflammation is slowly damaging her heart, increasing her risk of stroke and accelerating memory problems. While Betty thinks she's doing fine, her body is aging much faster than Margaret's. The science is clear. Seniors with high levels of inflammatory markers age faster and die sooner. One landmark study found that people with elevated inflammation were 43% more likely to die within the next decade compared to those with lower levels, regardless of other health conditions. The good news? You can fight silent inflammation with simple daily habits. First, eliminate inflammatory foods like processed sugar, refined carbohydrates, and seed oils. These might seem harmless, but they're setting off constant inflammatory responses in your body. Second, add natural anti-inflammatory foods like fatty fish, olive oil, colorful berries, and leafy greens. These foods don't just prevent inflammation, they actively fight it. Third, move your body daily. You don't need intense exercise. Even a 20-minute walk reduces inflammatory markers by up to 15%. Ask yourself, do you have unexplained fatigue? Do small injuries seem to heal slower than they used to? Do you feel stiff in the mornings? These might be signs that silent inflammation is accelerating your aging process. Remember, inflammation doesn't announce itself with obvious symptoms. That's why it's so dangerous. But catching it early and making these simple changes could add years to your life. Factor 2. Movement deficiency. When it comes to longevity after 70, one of the clearest predictors isn't your medical history or even your genes. It's how much you move each day. Most seniors don't realize they're suffering from movement deficiency, a condition that accelerates aging on a cellular level and can cut years off your life. Consider Robert and Thomas, both 76 years old. Robert makes movement part of his daily routine. He doesn't do anything extreme, no marathons or heavy weightlifting, but he walks every morning, does simple strength exercises 3 times a week, and never sits for more than an hour without getting up to move around. His posture is upright, his movements are fluid, and he rarely needs help with everyday tasks. Thomas, meanwhile, spends most of his day sitting. He drives short distances instead of walking, uses the elevator instead of stairs, and spends hours in his recliner watching television. He doesn't see any problem with his lifestyle. After all, isn't retirement the time to finally relax? What Thomas doesn't realize is that his sedentary lifestyle isn't just making him weaker, it's literally shortening his life. Research from the National Institute on Aging found that adults over 70 who moved regularly throughout the day, even just light activity like housework or gentle walking, lived an average of 4.8 years longer than their sedentary peers. Even more striking, the quality of those additional years was significantly better, with less disability and greater independence. The problem isn't just about missing exercise, it's that prolonged sitting actively harms your body. When you sit for hours, your muscles begin to atrophy, your metabolism slows, and your cardiovascular system becomes less efficient. Your body literally starts shutting down. One study found that for people over 65, each additional hour of daily sitting increased mortality risk by 9%. But here's the encouraging news. You don't need intense workouts to overcome movement deficiency. Simple movements throughout the day can make a profound difference. First, break up sitting time. Never sit for more than 45 minutes without standing up, stretching, or walking around for at least 2 minutes. Second, incorporate natural movement into your daily routine. Park farther from store entrances, take the stairs when possible, or do simple chores like gardening or washing dishes by hand. Third, focus on maintaining strength. Simple exercises like chair stands, wall push-ups, or holding onto a counter and doing gentle squats can preserve muscle mass that's critical for longevity. What many seniors don't realize is that movement isn't just about physical health, it also protects your brain. Regular physical activity increases blood flow to the brain, stimulates the growth of new neural connections, and flushes out toxins that contribute to dementia. People who stay active have up to 40% lower risk of cognitive decline. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment "move" below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Factor 3. Nutritional gaps. Most seniors are slowly starving their bodies of essential nutrients, even if they're eating 3 full meals a day. This hidden malnutrition accelerates aging, weakens the immune system, and leads to faster cognitive decline. Yet most healthcare providers never address it. Let's look at Helen and Dorothy, both 78 years old. On the surface, both women appear to eat reasonably well. Neither is underweight and both cook for themselves. But their nutritional approaches are worlds apart. Helen understands that aging bodies have different nutritional needs. She prioritizes protein with every meal, eggs at breakfast, Greek yogurt for snacks, and fish or chicken at dinner. She eats colorful vegetables daily, consumes healthy fats like olive oil and avocados, and drinks plenty of water. Helen doesn't follow a strict diet, she still enjoys treats, but she makes sure her body gets the raw materials it needs to maintain muscle, support brain health, and fight disease. Dorothy, however, eats like many typical seniors. Her breakfast is toast with jam and coffee. Lunch might be a sandwich and chips. Dinner often features easy-to-prepare foods like pasta or frozen meals. She avoids fatty foods because she's heard fat is unhealthy, and she doesn't worry much about protein because she's not trying to build muscles. What Dorothy doesn't realize is that her diet, while keeping her fed, is missing critical nutrients that protect against accelerated aging. Medical research has identified several key nutritional gaps that shorten seniors' lives. Protein deficiency is perhaps the most damaging. After age 70, your body becomes less efficient at processing protein, yet most seniors consume less of it, not more. Without adequate protein, your muscles waste away, your immune system weakens, and even your organs begin to deteriorate. Studies show that seniors with low protein intake have 43% higher mortality over a 6-year period. Vitamin D deficiency affects over 70% of seniors and accelerates bone loss, increases fall risk, and suppresses immune function. Most concerning, low vitamin D levels correlate with higher all-cause mortality in numerous studies. Omega-3 fatty acid deficiency is widespread among seniors who limit fat intake. These essential fats protect brain cells, reduce inflammation, and support heart health. Research shows that higher blood levels of omega-3s are associated with longer telomeres, the protective caps on your DNA that prevent premature aging. B vitamin deficiencies become more common with age and medications, yet these vitamins are crucial for energy production, cognitive function, and maintaining healthy homocysteine levels, a risk factor for heart disease and dementia. Closing these nutritional gaps doesn't require complicated diets or expensive supplements. Simple adjustments can make a profound difference. First, prioritize protein at every meal. Aim for at least 25 to 30 grams per meal, about the amount in 4 ounces of chicken or fish, or a cup of Greek yogurt with nuts. Second, include healthy fats daily. Olive oil, avocados, nuts, and fatty fish not only provide essential nutrients but help you absorb other vitamins better. Third, eat across the color spectrum. Different colored fruits and vegetables provide different protective compounds. Try to include at least 3 colors in your diet each day. Fourth, consider targeted supplementation based on blood work, particularly vitamin D, B12, and omega-3s if you don't consume fatty fish regularly. Many seniors worry that changing their diet will be too difficult or expensive. But the truth is, these changes don't require exotic foods or elaborate cooking. Simple shifts, like adding a handful of berries to your breakfast, replacing white bread with whole grain, or including a small portion of fish twice weekly, can dramatically improve your nutritional status and add years to your life. Factor 4. Toxic medication combinations. One of the most overlooked factors cutting seniors' lives short is happening in their medicine cabinets. While individual medications may be prescribed correctly, the combination of multiple drugs, known as polypharmacy, creates a toxic internal environment that accelerates aging and increases mortality risk. Yet few doctors or pharmacists take the time to evaluate a senior's complete medication regimen. Consider Frank's story. At 79, Frank was taking 11 different medications prescribed by 4 different specialists: a cardiologist, rheumatologist, urologist, and his primary care doctor. Each medication was prescribed for a legitimate reason, but no one doctor was looking at the complete picture. Frank started experiencing dizziness, confusion, and frequent falls. His family assumed these were just signs of getting older, but in reality they were side effects from medication interactions. What Frank and his family didn't know was that certain combinations of his medications were depleting essential nutrients, stressing his liver, affecting his balance, and even causing subtle cognitive changes. One medication was actually counteracting another, while 2 others were amplifying side effects when taken together. This scenario is alarmingly common. Research shows that adverse drug reactions cause nearly 1.3 million emergency department visits among seniors annually and are responsible for up to 10% of hospital admissions. Even more concerning, a study published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society found that seniors taking 5 or more medications had a 147% higher risk of death over an 8-year period compared to those taking fewer medications. The problem isn't just the number of medications, it's how they interact. Some combinations deplete critical nutrients like CoQ10, magnesium, and B vitamins, nutrients essential for energy production, brain function, and heart health. Others affect balance and coordination, leading to falls that can be catastrophic for seniors. Many impact cognitive function, creating symptoms that mimic dementia but are actually medication side effects. Some combinations stress the liver and kidneys, accelerating the decline of these vital organs. The solution isn't to simply stop taking prescribed medications. That could be dangerous. Instead, take these proactive steps. First, request a comprehensive medication review with your doctor or pharmacist at least once a year. Bring every medication you take, prescription and over-the-counter, and ask specifically about interactions and whether each medication is still necessary. Second, whenever a new medication is prescribed, ask if it might interact with your current medications and if there are non-drug alternatives you could try first. Third, be aware of prescribing cascades. When a new drug is prescribed to treat the side effects of another drug, ask your doctor if any of your symptoms might be medication side effects rather than new conditions requiring more drugs. Fourth, consider working with a functional medicine doctor or pharmacist who specializes in deprescribing, the process of systematically discontinuing medications that may no longer be beneficial or may be causing harm. Frank's story has a positive ending. After his family requested a medication review, his doctor identified several problematic combinations and was able to eliminate 3 medications entirely and reduce the dosage of 2 others. Within weeks, Frank's dizziness disappeared, his thinking cleared, and his energy improved. What his family had assumed were irreversible signs of aging turned out to be largely medication effects. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment "aware" below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward to our next factor. Factor 5, social disconnection. Perhaps the most overlooked factor that shortens seniors' lives isn't physical at all, it's loneliness. Medical research has found that social isolation is as dangerous to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day, increasing mortality risk by a staggering 29%. Yet many seniors and their families dismiss loneliness as just an emotional issue rather than the life-threatening condition it actually is. Consider the contrasting lives of James and William, both 81-year-old widowers living alone. James has maintained strong social connections despite losing his wife 3 years ago. He attends a weekly men's breakfast at his local community center, participates in a book club, volunteers at his church once a week, and has regular video calls with his children and grandchildren. He makes it a point to have meaningful conversations with at least 2 people every day. William, on the other hand, has gradually withdrawn from social life after his wife passed. He rarely leaves his home except for essential errands, has stopped answering phone calls from friends because it takes too much energy, and sees his family only on major holidays. He spends most days watching television alone and has convinced himself that this is just how it is when you get old. What William doesn't realize is that his isolation isn't just making him feel lonely, it's physically damaging his body. Research from Brigham Young University found that chronic loneliness triggers a cascade of stress hormones that damage the cardiovascular system, suppress immune function, and even accelerate cognitive decline. Brain scans of socially isolated seniors show patterns of deterioration similar to those with early Alzheimer's disease. The biological mechanisms are clear. Humans evolved as social creatures and our bodies interpret isolation as a threat to survival. When we're chronically disconnected, our bodies remain in a subtle but persistent state of stress. Inflammation increases, sleep quality decreases, and blood pressure rises. Over time, these changes accelerate aging at the cellular level and increase vulnerability to disease. Even more concerning, socially disconnected seniors are less likely to notice and report health problems, often delaying critical medical care until conditions become severe. They're also less likely to follow treatment plans, take medications correctly, or maintain healthy habits. The good news is that rebuilding social connections doesn't require a large circle of friends or constant activity. Quality matters more than quantity. First, prioritize meaningful interactions over superficial ones. One deep conversation has more health benefits than hours of being in a crowd without real connection. Second, establish regular social anchors. Weekly events you can count on that involve other people, even if it's as simple as a standing coffee date or a regular phone call with a friend. Third, consider using technology to stay connected. Video calls with family, online communities for seniors, or even text message check-ins can provide valuable connection when in-person options are limited. Fourth, look for purpose-driven social activities like volunteering, which research shows provides even greater health benefits than purely social engagements. For family members worried about a senior loved one, recognize that social connection isn't a luxury, it's as essential as proper nutrition or medical care. Finding ways to ensure regular, meaningful human interaction could add years to their life. Factor 6. Stress and sleep disruption. Many seniors accept chronic stress and poor sleep as inevitable parts of aging. They're not. These twin disruptors silently damage your body and brain, potentially cutting years off your life. What makes them particularly dangerous is how they feed into each other, creating a downward spiral that accelerates aging at the cellular level. Take Martha's story. At 74, Martha struggled with persistent anxiety about her health, finances, and being a burden to her family. This chronic stress made it difficult for her to fall asleep, and when she did sleep, she would wake throughout the night with racing thoughts. During the day, her poor sleep led to fatigue, irritability, and even more anxiety, creating a vicious cycle. What Martha didn't realize was that this cycle wasn't just making her feel bad, it was causing physical damage to her body. Every night of insufficient sleep was reducing her immune function, increasing inflammation, and even affecting her body's ability to regulate blood sugar. Meanwhile, the persistent stress was keeping her cortisol levels elevated, raising her blood pressure and breaking down muscle tissue. The science is clear. Chronic stress and disrupted sleep fundamentally change how your body functions. When cortisol, the primary stress hormone, remains elevated for long periods, it damages almost every system in your body. Your brain's memory center, the hippocampus, actually shrinks under chronic stress, accelerating cognitive decline and increasing dementia risk. Your telomeres, the protective caps on your DNA that prevent aging, shorten more rapidly, essentially accelerating your biological aging process. Your immune system becomes suppressed, making you more vulnerable to everything from common infections to serious diseases. Similarly, poor sleep creates its own cascade of damage. During deep sleep, your brain clears out toxins and waste products, including those associated with Alzheimer's disease. Without sufficient deep sleep, these toxins accumulate faster. Growth hormone, essential for tissue repair and muscle maintenance, is primarily released during sleep. Less sleep means less repair capacity. Blood sugar regulation, appetite control, and blood pressure stabilization all depend on quality sleep. Disruptions lead to increased risk of diabetes, weight gain, and cardiovascular problems. A groundbreaking study in the journal Sleep found that seniors who regularly slept less than 6 hours a night had a 40% higher mortality rate over 8 years compared to those who slept 7 to 8 hours. Even more striking, those with high stress and poor sleep had nearly double the mortality risk. Martha's story took a positive turn when she worked with a healthcare provider who recognized that her sleep and stress issues weren't just normal aging, but serious health concerns requiring intervention. Through a combination of stress management techniques, sleep supportive habits, and temporary help from appropriate supplements, Martha broke the cycle. She established a consistent sleep schedule, going to bed and waking at the same time every day, which helped reset her natural sleep rhythms. She created a 30-minute wind-down routine before bed, eliminating screens and incorporating gentle stretching and breathing exercises. She learned thought-stopping techniques to interrupt anxious rumination, particularly the catastrophic thinking that would keep her awake at night. She began practicing mindfulness meditation for just 10 minutes each morning, which research shows can reduce cortisol levels by up to 20%. Within weeks, Martha was sleeping through the night for the first time in years. Her daytime anxiety decreased, her energy improved, and even her blood pressure readings normalized. What she had assumed was an inevitable part of aging turned out to be largely reversible. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment "rest" below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move on to our final factor. Factor 7. Purpose deficiency. The final factor that often shortens seniors' lives might surprise you. It's not physical at all, but its impact on your body is profound. Purpose deficiency, the lack of a meaningful reason to get up in the morning, doesn't just affect your mood, it changes your physiology in ways that accelerate aging and increase mortality risk. Consider the contrasting lives of Eleanor and Ruth, both 77-year-old widows. From the outside, both women seem to be in similar circumstances. Both live alone, both have adult children and grandchildren, and both are in relatively good physical health for their age. Eleanor wakes up each day with clear purpose. 3 days a week, she mentors struggling readers at a local elementary school. She's the family historian, documenting stories and organizing photos for future generations. She's learning to paint, something she always wanted to do but never had time for during her working years. Each of these activities gives her a reason to engage with the world, to continue learning, and to contribute in meaningful ways. Ruth, however, drifts through her days without direction. When her husband died and she retired, she lost the 2 primary roles that defined her life. Now she fills her time with television, routine household chores, and waiting for occasional visits from family. When asked about her plans or goals, she often responds, "At my age, I'm just taking it day by day." What Ruth doesn't realize is that her lack of purpose isn't just making her days less fulfilling, it's likely making them fewer. Groundbreaking research from Rush University Medical Center followed over 1,200 seniors for up to 10 years and found something remarkable. People with high purpose in life were about 2.4 times more likely to remain free from Alzheimer's disease than those with low purpose. Even more striking, across multiple studies, seniors with strong purpose had a 23% reduction in all-cause mortality. The biological mechanisms behind this are fascinating. Purpose in life has been linked to lower levels of inflammatory markers, including interleukin-6, which is associated with numerous age-related diseases. Better immune function, with purpose-driven seniors producing more virus-fighting cells and antibodies. Reduced stress hormones and lower blood pressure, even during challenging situations. More physical activity and better self-care, as having something to live for motivates healthier choices. The most encouraging aspect of purpose is that unlike some risk factors that accumulate over decades, the benefits of finding purpose can begin at any age. Many seniors discover new purpose in their 70s, 80s, or even 90s and still experience the profound health benefits. Finding purpose doesn't require grand gestures or major life changes. It comes from identifying what matters to you and creating regular activities around those values. First, reflect on what you've always found meaningful. What activities have made you lose track of time? What issues or causes have you always cared about? These are clues to your natural sources of purpose. Second, look for ways to share your wisdom and experience. Mentoring, teaching, or simply documenting your life stories for future generations can provide strong purpose. Third, engage in ongoing learning. Whether it's a new skill, language, or area of knowledge, being a beginner again keeps your brain sharp and gives you forward momentum. Fourth, consider how you can be of service even in small ways. Research shows that helping others creates some of the strongest sense of purpose and the greatest health benefits. Ruth's story eventually took a positive turn when her doctor recognized her purpose deficiency as a health risk and referred her to a senior center with a volunteer matching program. She began reading to residents at a memory care facility once a week, which evolved into leading a small reminiscence group. Having somewhere to be needed and something meaningful to offer gave her a reason to take better care of her health. 3 years later, her doctor was surprised to find her biological markers of aging had actually improved. She was aging more slowly than before. As we come to the end of this video, take a moment to reflect on the 7 factors we've discussed. Silent inflammation, movement deficiency, nutritional gaps, toxic medication combinations, social disconnection, stress and sleep disruption, and purpose deficiency. These aren't just quality of life issues. They're life or death factors that determine how many years you have left and, more importantly, how you'll experience those years. Think about Sarah, an 82-year-old woman who addressed all 7 of these factors after her 75th birthday. When her contemporaries began experiencing serious decline, Sarah remained vibrant, independent, and engaged. At her recent checkup, her doctor told her she had the biomarkers of someone in their mid-60s. She had effectively turned back her biological clock by addressing these exact factors. The most important thing to understand is that none of these factors require medical breakthroughs or cutting-edge treatments to address. They all respond to simple, everyday choices that are within your control right now. Anti-inflammatory foods instead of inflammatory ones. Regular, gentle movement throughout your day. Strategic nutrition that addresses age-specific needs. Careful management of medications and their interactions. Meaningful social connections even if just with a few key people. Stress management and sleep-supporting habits. Activities that give your life meaning and purpose. For many seniors, making changes in just 1 or 2 of these areas has added years to their lives. Imagine the impact of addressing all 7. Remember, the goal isn't just to live longer, it's to live better. To maintain your independence, your cognition, your ability to participate fully in life for as long as possible. To be the 80-year-old who still travels, who knows their grandchildren as individuals, who continues to learn and grow rather than merely exist. If you're watching this and you're a senior yourself, know that it's never too late to address these factors. Studies show benefits beginning within days or weeks of making changes, regardless of age. If you're watching because you care about a senior in your life, recognize that supporting them in addressing these factors might be the greatest gift you can give them, more meaningful than any material item or even financial support. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share which of these 7 factors resonated most with you, or a change you plan to make based on what you've learned. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs this information. Your support helps us continue creating content that can truly change lives. But before you go, I want to leave you with one final thought. Right now, in this moment, you have more control over how long and how well you'll live than you probably realize. The choices you make today, even small ones, are writing the story of your future health. What changes will you make to ensure your story continues with strength, independence, and joy for years to come? In our next video, we'll dive deeper into each of these factors with specific action plans you can implement immediately. So make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on so you don't miss this vital information. Your future self will thank you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.